of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. And with me today we have Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem and Holy Queen Mother Rabbi Saleem. And we're missing our partner, Brother Fakir Abdul-Aziz. But I'm going to wish everybody's peace and may Ahezaah's peace and other blessings be by everybody's presence. It's always a pleasure to be in the presence of Ahezaah's messenger, the presence of Ahezaah, those in the community, those that are sitting out in the audience. One thing we're going to discuss this evening on this program is Ahezaah's calling to the communities of mankind. Ahezaah breaks it down to us as man's kind in this hour today, and how the world is in such a state of chaos, in a state of revolt, in a state of going against what Ahezaah have sent down in his words. So with that, we see such travesty that just happened recently with this this earthquake happening down in the country of Haiti, and how people are suffering great losses, family, friends, loved ones, and the people that are affected here, that are descendants of those people of this country, who are trying to reach back and find out their families are okay. In the signs of that law that Ahezaah manifests in today, you know, I had a brother, I was watching a program recently, and one gentleman got in trouble for his statements that he made, or Pat Robinson, I believe, Christian minister or channel. He made a statement about how the Lord had chastised this particular country, you know. But people jumped on him and don't think about what Allah says in the scripture when he took the world down in the time of Noah, the town of Sodom and Gomorrah that Allah took down. You know, I'm not going weighing against the brother for or against, but people's observation there become so limited and not looking at the greater picture of what's being going on today, living in our revelation that's being manifested. So people watch the program, I hope you take ear and take note what's being said and think about and look again at certain signs that Allah is manifesting with this Holy Apostle or Holy Queen.
Well, before you go into your thing, because I don't want this to be about Haiti.
Right, I wasn't.
First of all, I feel for the people down there. You know, may Allah have mercy on them. But Pat Robinson, if that's the one who made the statement,
right?
His statement may very well be true, but do he have the right to say that?
Right.
You know, because see, you got self-righteous people who want to point out at somebody else and say the Lord is chastising them, but what about you and your people?
Right.
You understand? Because they swear that Christianity is the way. Now, these people were Catholicists.
Yeah.
Roman Catholicism.
Yeah, Roman Catholics. Right.
And that's associated with Christianity. Right. You know? And, you know, like you have all these differences in the world in terms of religion. And the people being called together as communities of mankind, you know. Right. But I would say, you know, like to say that may Allah have mercy on them. What Ahezaah is going to do, it's doing, and the people today need to realize that this is the time of revelation, and some of the very same people that would say what he said will deny that the Lord is after them too.
Oh yeah.
You understand? They can't see that. You know, so, you know, I just want to add my little 2 cents in about that, you know, because we have some finger pointers, man. Oh, yeah. And then let's call a spade, as we say in the ghetto. Who's responsible for them people being lost from the path of the way in the manner that they are? You know? Yeah. We know about the true religion. But we'll go into that in our conversation. But go ahead, dear.
No, I just echo the same view. It's like what people have to realize, if you're so busy looking out, you're never looking at what you see when you look in that mirror. you have to look at yourself, and you have to see what's going on in your own world, your own personal world, as an individual. Allah showed us a sign in a mass number of people, but some of us live in hell every day within ourselves. So before we could just jump out of ourselves, we have to look at what hell we're going through within ourselves, and then we have to realize that, you know, the prophets of old never brought the Catholic
Right.
religion and the Christian religion.
Right.
So we picked up man's way,
Right.
and that religion has drove everybody basically to the state they are in at this
Right.
present time. It's either the religion have drove them to the state, their greed have drove them to the state, their ignorance have
Right.
drove them to the state. But we know that religion have the so-called word Catholic,
Right.
Christian, and all these other different religions have drove the people to the state that they're presently in. So, you know, I wish the people well, you know, because, but I say to the people is that look at home first, because Ahezaah says it in the book of Revelation, and Ahezaah has said in the divine book of recitation that we have something coming to us too, as a people in these United States of America. Let us not forget what happened in New Orleans. Let us not forget
And there's more to come.
what the temperature is like in Florida,
Right.
where
Yeah.
we get so many of our resources of food
Right.
from, you know. So there's a lot that's going on. Let us not close our eyes and forget that we're living in a time where you're not safe no matter where you go and how much money you have. So, you know, I feel for the people in Haiti because we're human, you know, but everything is with Ahezaah.
You know, people think that, you know, like they can control nature.
Yeah.
That's what the jinn is doing now.
Yeah.
Salting up the sky and the clouds and making it rain and doing all kind of stuff. They want to become the master of creation. You know, they going beyond bounds from what the Lord El has given us as humanity to watch over. You understand? See, people have a tendency to think that like that what they propagate about us being the cream of creation.
Yeah.
You understand? Making ourselves more important than every other thing, not realizing that not only is man created equal, but everything is created equal. Nothing is greater than man, and man is mankind, and mankind is greater than nothing else when it comes to dependency upon the reality of being. You understand? That's where it's at. Now, it's the reality of being that manifests through creatures, right? So how can a creature take credit for what the reality of being is doing through it? You feel where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So, you know, like this thing that's happening to Haiti is just another part of what's been prophesied, what happened out in Sri Lanka and over in the east, and with the earth axis being turned off, being shifted, we got a lot of more things to come, just like the bridges all over the world. If Newark in New York rose 2 inches and slammed back down when that earthquake hit and that tsunami hit, what do you think happened to the whole earth? Because that's clear across the world. And then we thrown off of our axis, you know, like everything that's been pinned down by man has had to be loosened up.
Oh yeah.
You know, you could take a tree. You could take 2 trees, tall oak trees or whatever, right? And you can cut one down.
Right.
And the one next to it will eventually fall because now the wind is hitting it from a direction that it has never been accustomed to.
Okay. Right.
Now, when you think about that, you think about the earth being turned off its axis and everything being hit from an angle that they've never been hit from.
That's something that Holy Queen just alluded to. how the temperature now in Florida is 20 degrees.
Yes,
orange
and
is
there's so many
freezing.
other things.
They glanced over it, you know, how they missed the fact that maybe less than a week ago, when California had a magnitude of 6.5 in California earthquake.
Yeah, and they just barely mentioned
it, right? But I'm like, wait a minute. And Ahezaah always been giving you the word for quite some years now. How don't be surprised if that state break off.
Or if the bridges, they said when the bridges was going to start falling, they start falling. They got problems with bridges all over the United States, probably all over the world. Right. You know, mudslides, trees, and everything. The ground shifting and sliding down more than ever before. You know, and all kinds of things going on because this is that day and time. Now, I'm not saying to look at anybody and say, hey, don't help or be upset or, you know, take, you know, different approaches, but we got to look at what's going on and recognize that the reality of being the Lord Most High, the Lord of the throne, has commanded these things to be. And while the jinn, the advocates of the devil, the most powerful men and women in the world, most powerful people in the world, they got all the education, the ancient books of education that tells you the truth about the Lord El. They will not show it to you because they don't want man to be free. They don't want the common people to be free of them and their power, their rule. You feel me? Now that takes me to the Lord El's calling of us in the name of Allah and Ahezaah and Amen and what have you. You know? We talk about religion. Ahezaah said to me today, it don't need religion. It don't need ministers. It don't need prophets. It don't need any of the things. It don't need angels to command its worlds. To get what it want done. It don't need them. But for the mercy and compassion and love and generosity for its creatures, it sets up laws and orders and command that those laws and orders stay in place. Therefore, we have angels, prophets, messengers. You understand? That is our mediums to man, between man and mankind and the supreme being, the supreme mind, the supreme man, which is the Lord of the throne. You understand? And these orders must, if you want to live a harmonious life, you must abide by the laws and the orders. Now, you know how it says to us in the Holy Quran, you know, I mean, how we was instructed through Prophet Muhammad that when you make your call of prayer, say it in a tone where you can hear yourself call that prayer. And when Allah talk about the gatherings of the communities, Ahezaah said it was talking chiefly about individuals. See, Ahezaah called us from within. It says to find it, we must go within. Everything about the path of the way of truth, the light of Christ, the light, I mean, coming into the soul and what, it's all within. Right. Why, when it comes to the religion of man, we got to go out? Because the devil and his advocates have twisted what the Lord El has sent down to us about this calling to ourselves, to come unto it in the centers of our being within. Now some people might say, well, how's that? Okay. Look at this. If you have something to say, stop me. Ahezaah says that the individual, the individuality of man represents the inward, divided, dual world of man. In for the inward, dividual or divided, dual, the dual, itty, the world of being, the small worlds of being. It says that its macrocosm is an itty in comparison to its infinite being of mind, of its creative being.
Right.
So everything is smaller than something else.
Right.
Everything is less than the reality, the truth. Huh? Now, that duality about us is our inward being and our outward being. And it says it calls man to call the community of himself unto it in praise and worship.
Right.
From within, chiefly from within each individual. And to right yourself from within. And if you right yourself in the world of your inner being, then you must come out right. Now, what did the devil do? The devil said, oh, no, put that aside. We want to call the divided world together.
Right.
Now, how can you have harmony when each individual is a world within themselves and they trying to call everybody together? That don't work. That's why within these religious movements you have people who want to backstab everybody else to get power or rule or whatever. Because they follow the devil's way. They don't understand that the community that the Lord says, you say you believe, but then when you get with your ringleaders are inside of you. You say, I was just jesting. Now, how many people you know go to some group of people, the ringleaders say, hey, I was just jesting. I was over there in church and I was over in the synagogue, I was in the masjid, but I was just jesting. You don't have that. No. But you have everybody who's a hypocrite go to themselves and say, man, I know I was lying. I know I was jiving. I know I don't believe this. So, by right, we're supposed to call ourselves to prayer. And when we get the community of ourselves together, we're going to automatically go out from ourselves with righteousness. Why should I have to come preach to you about not stealing, not committing adultery, not committing fornication, not lying and cheating? Why should I come and have to preach to you? You should be preaching to yourself. That's what Ahezaah called you to do. To right yourself so that the community of yourself, the microcosmic world of yourself will find harmony. You cannot make harmony be with other people.
No. That is true.
Right now we sit here in this gathering here and everybody's listening or hearing something coming from me, but everybody's understanding it in their own way.
Right.
Now, in that understanding of theirs, they put it into their own world. Now your whole world here understand the same way. But not this world out here. So when you go to make your prayer and you feel yourself falling back, bang, 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 to get to the prayer room or prayer carpet or wherever you're going to go and pray. Beg the Lord, because you can feel your body saying, no, your knees, no, I don't want to bend down, no. What is that? Because the Lord said that your limbs will bear witness for or against you at the throne of judgment. And from my own personal experience, I know that's true. Because I've had a near-death experience. I've had times when I went to the throne. But in those first times when I wasn't right, and I went to speak, that's why I know what people do when they go to the throne of Allah. They be lying, talking about, well, I'm going to get myself together before I die, man, because when I get to that throne, boy, I know I'm going to be right. Let me give you a little bit of charity, man, so, I have a little bit of something, Don't forget I did charity for you now. Now you're getting paid for the charity. You think you saving up something for the day, but now you're getting paid because you want your charity recognized. Huh? You take off 10% and you keep 90% for yourself.
Right.
Say, Lord, look at that. Look at what I did. Okay, what you gonna do with the 90%? I don't know. I don't really need it, but I'm keeping it. Why are you keeping the 90% if you don't need it?
All these stinginess, niggliness, all that going on.
You know, see, we got a world where people just constantly reject the Lord Most High. They reject the call. They can't at first get themselves together to hear that call and to send that call out to themselves. But they want to point the finger at everybody, and they want to try to understand why our community is like this. Because your community is not harmonious. Your community is not together. The community of yourself is not together. I've heard men say, man means mine, man means mine, man means mine. But they didn't explain how man means mine, how the world is meant to, how everything is created from the infinite mind of the Lord, how everything is a vision of the Lord. It's like a dream, you know? And people say, well, my life ain't like a dream. Yeah, but to a dream, its life is real. No matter how long or short it's lived.
Right.
So what makes you different? You don't understand what an illusion is. Right. An illusion is something that appears to be what it is not. Right. I appear to have power. I have no power. If my Lord withdraw itself from me, I will lay here limp. As a matter of fact, if it take itself from me completely, I will not exist. So therefore, I am an illusion to what is real.
Like you just said, though, in the world of the devil's advocate, turning everything backwards, we think that we are real and that our life is independent.
Yes.
You know, I'm glad because as you're speaking, thinking back at times how you may inwardly see things and you can feel it, the calling. You feel the calling coming into you. Go right instead of going left. But and then anyway, you can see yourself still going left, regardless of what the call's saying.
Yeah.
But people quickly dismiss that, deny it. Oh, that's just a no, that just happened. That's that calling of the show that he speaks about dealing with the inner that people always deny. Nah. And it was then when things happened to him, I thought that was, but because nobody explained or has given us information how these things, even though it's been sitting down 1,000 years, but like you said, in the houses of worship, they make everything of the outer world.
Because you know,
heaven is now, wealth is now.
I love what Ahezaah said to me today, this morning, about it don't need the religion. You know, man was never called to gather in the way that they gather and to go against, to become opponents of one another in religion. Man is called to be harmonious. That's not going against one another. When the Lord says your religion is your way of life, I got to let you talk if you're going to be up here sleeping. You got ready to go. You know, if your religion is your way of life, when is it time for you to make prayer?
Anytime you get a call for it.
See, Allah in His mercy sent down that we'll make prayer 5 times a day.
Right.
Huh? That's by the order.
Right.
Huh? By the supreme law, anytime your being is called to prayer from within, that's time for you to pray. How many times a day is that? Who can count it?
I hear you because I was thinking about that. Told my son.
Hold on for a second. When you said what you said about yourself going left,
right?
Time to pray. Right there. Oh, Allah have mercy on, help me. Go right. Right there. It was time to pray. That's why Allah said no matter what position you in, whether you laying, standing, kneeling, you know, prostrating on a horse, on a car, you know, in a plane, no matter what you're doing.
Right. Back to like you were saying, how Ahezaah expresses in the Quran more than prayer is the remembrance.
It's the remembrance. We know that. We got to make sure we continue to tell people
that. No, because, and I was laughing because thinking about these things, the 5 times a day that make the Muslim have made that so important to me, that's like the least. Them 5 is the least in the chain of the greater picture
They
of
are.
anytime get a thought.
That 5 was just a mercy from Allah that it called man to do that outwardly, so that they would, because people forget.
Right.
So that was a mercy, just an outward mercy that Allah had manifest. But see, we're called to remember Allah continuously all day.
Right.
They hate the Muslims in general of the Orthodox outward way. They hate the messengers of Allah, the Sufis, the mystics. They hate the people that deal with true spirituality. They don't want to hear that about no praying and remembering Allah all day. They got business to take care of.
Right. That's how they think.
They don't put Allah in their business. You got people, the meanest people in the world, will not speak to this woman walking down the street until she get on Branford Place somewhere and they got something to sell. Same mean people who never even cut their eyes at her. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
I've seen it is sad, but it's a They have Arabic English going on.
They all lovey-dovey when they want to make that sale.
But I seen the same people
they selling
in
themselves to hell.
In stores, sisters see each other. I know most I've seen the sisters have a lot with sisters. Face one another coming down aisles or whatever. In turn head, I didn't. Oh, sister, I didn't.
But you know what? I ain't got no problem with that, because one thing about Allah, it never said you have to greet a person that you recognize as a believer of the faith that you in.
Right.
But it said if someone greets you, greet it equally or better in return, and that's right.
Right.
You understand? Because some people get attitudes, man. And like I had a guy that live across the street from me, man. He will not give me salams to save his life. I don't know what he saved him for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when he passed on, he go to the throne and say, "Look, Lord, here's all those salams you gave me. I saved them."
And then the Lord said, "Here, these are all the ones that I've given you. Now what you got?"
But the thing about it is, I think he's changing. May I either have mercy on him and forgive him and understand that I never meant this guy any harm. I never said a bad thing towards him, never looked negative at him. To each man is his way. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing about it, ain't giving us that 1 minute. It seems like we've been talking for like 30 seconds.
I know. We're going to hold these thoughts for a minute. I hope all those in New York audience enjoy what you're hearing. Think about what Ahezaah sitting down through this message and this conversation, that you look back at your life and be reflective upon oneself, whatever house you're in and whatever religion you're in, that you look back at first. The Lord said it through Jesus' best, seek ye the kingdom of heaven is within you. If you look at that and think about that, may the Lord bless you.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you